guys, so we are back with a new video today. This one's going to be about the only strategy I would trade if I had to start over. So I've been trading for 4 years now. There's been maybe 4 or 5 main strategies that since when I very first started. So now I have the experience, now I have the track record, and I can see every single day what works best for me. This would be the one if I had to start over again. It's based a lot around the New York Session Open, and yeah, it works great for me. I've got some serious results with it, and lots of people inside of my community are doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to break it down, show you the 4 or 5 main points of how to really get the best out of this strategy. So let's get into it. So to start with number 1, for me, higher time frame is one of the most important parts of this, and I think that is probably the same with every single strategy in trading. We look for what is happening on the higher time frame, and then we usually go down to the lower time frame, your 1, your 2, maybe 3 minutes, and look for our entries. So a lot of people get very caught up on the lower time frame because things are moving very quick. Things are, to your eye, you think that there's a lot going on, but actually you need to make sure that your higher time frame aligns with the lower time frame, because you can get burnt very, very quickly. So that is rule number 1. So in this scenario, we was actually rejecting out of a 1 hour inversion. So 1 hour time frame is pretty solid for me. 4 and 1 are a good higher time frame that I use quite a lot. So in this scenario, we had a 1 hour inversion here, and this is what we was rejecting. So especially what I want to talk about is this is the last 1 hour gap in this leg. So this holds a lot of weight for me. Whenever we have a last presented gap, whether it's even on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, 15, these hold a lot of weight because they can tell us a lot about what could potentially happen. So if price was to be bullish and this gap here turned inversion, then usually we would see higher prices like this. But as it was respecting it very, very clean as well, that was an indication to me that we was going to go lower. Also, we had the Asia high here, and on NQ it did not get taken, but because on NQ we correlated with ES, they should be correlated. ES actually took out the Asia high. So what this means to me is that NQ is the weaker asset, and we did not even have the momentum to get up to the Asia high. So if you think it just like your day-to-day, it's common sense. If it can't get up here, then usually it should mean it's going to go lower. So that's a good indication. So we pair, your bearish SMT, because ES took out this high here, NQ did not. So that's a cracking correlation, and I was expecting lower prices. And the fact that we had the SMT tied in with a 1 hour inversion and a 1 hour fair value gap, this is where a lot of my analysis came from, and it filled me with confidence that we was going to push lower. So now we have both of these paired. What I want you to realize is predominantly on NQ, you're going to see the most volume between, let's say, 9 and 11 a.m. New York time. Yeah. So that is when the New York Stock Exchange opens. So when you're trading something like that, you want to be trading it when we have the highest volume. Don't get me wrong, you can get winners on NQ in London, but technically, you don't really want to, let's say for instance, you're trading the Japanese yen, you don't really want to be trading that in the London session because you're not going to get the volume out of it. The big banks and the institutions will not be active, and we want to get on the back of their moves. So I like to really, really look at this strategy between, after 9:30 a.m. to about 11. That is my highest time frame window where I get most of my trades. So the fact that this was the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. candle, this shows how much volume actually came in the market. But let's drop down to the lower time frame. I think let's go on to the 15 minute or the 5, and I can show you a bit more of why I wanted to go short. So it's the exact same. Remember what I was saying about the last presented 1 hour gap? It's the exact same on the 15 minute here. It holds a lot of weight. If you wanted to go higher, this gap would have turned inversion and we would have gone higher. So this is a really clear indication to me that we wanted to go lower. And you can see this exact candle right here is the 9:30 New York Stock Exchange Open. Look how much volume came into this market. So the way I view this is I want to be going with the trend as much as possible. I take reversal trades here and there, but there has to be some solid confluences, because we all know trading with the trend will get us the highest probability setups, and you don't want to be fighting against the market, especially at market open, because there is so much volume coming in. If you want to try and go against that, you can lose money in seconds. So trying to find the right setup and being patient and trading with the trend is very important. And in this scenario, we also had London low as a target. So London low, Asia high, Asia low, London high. All of these session liquidities are either reversal areas or they are targets for us. So I knew we had this lower. We already had our higher time frame analysis coming out of here. So I'm mixing my higher time frame with my potential draws on liquidity, and then I am going to try and trade with that trend. So that's that on the 15. Now let's jump down onto the even lower time frame where I can show you my exact entry. You can even see my executions. And yeah, this was my last trade I took of the week last week on Thursday. So after New York Stock Exchange opens, we look for the first presented fair value gap, and we do that on the 1 minute, we do it on the 5 minute, and we do it on the 15 minute. And these give us really, really, really good indications of where the market wants to go. So the way you got to look at it, this was the first presented 5 minute. And the way you got to look at it is the same as the 1 hour gap I explained earlier. If we then pushed up and it turned inversion, it would usually mean that we are going to push higher. But because we had our other confluences, I knew we wanted to still go lower. And you can see that once again, we could not even come back up and retest it because we were so bearish. So that was another very good confluence on the 5 minute. And now let's get straight into how I entered. So this was the dump we had exactly at 9:30. And then what I reckon some people were thinking, we're going to have a reversal here. You know, we've taken out some of these old lows. But what they're probably not realizing is higher time frame, we are coming out of a 1 hour inversion. We have a 1 hour bearish SMT, and we do also have a draw lower. So this is where you need to really get all of your confluences together to build your A+ setup. So just like we had a bearish SMT on the 1 hour time frame, we also had it again on the 1 minute. So ES, S&P 500 pushed up and took out this high. NQ did not. So once again, it's a sign of weakness on the Nasdaq. And this was another great confluence for me because price could not even come up and take out this high. We started to see a dump, and this is where I was really, really interested in taking my entry. I see that we had a singular 1 minute bullish fair value gap, and I knew that if this turned inversion lower again, there was definitely a continuation on the cards for me. Right, so here we go then. Like I said, we had the inversion just here. Got the closure twice, and then I entered straight away. I have my stop loss around here. To be honest with you, pretty bigger stop loss than I would usually go for. But what it allowed for the London low was around a 2.5%. Now, guys, I don't sit here and I do not aim for 5, 6, 7%. Of course, we do get them sometimes, but these are harder to come by and you will miss out on floating profits a lot quicker. So I was very happy. like, what time did I get into this trade? So I got in 16 minutes after market opened. I got into the trade. We did mess around a little bit, but I trusted my analysis. I didn't pull it out here. I pulled it out all the way down at the London low, and it took me, okay, so from when I entered to when I got TP, it was about 30 odd minutes. Now, I've made $1,000 in around 30 minutes, you know. There is not many jobs out there that are going to really give you much like that. And it's very easy to get caught up on social media and see some people making 10, 15, 20,000 pound in a trade. But look, this can happen as you grow as a trader, but it's very important to take your base hits. The market conditions can be a little bit iffy right now with what's going on around the world. So I was more than happy to bank my profits and get off the charts. I don't want to be sitting here all day long looking at the charts, doing my eyes in, and constantly racking my brain looking for setups. I want to spend as least time possible on the charts. So when I can make $1,000 that quick, I'm more than happy and I'm closed out for the day. And one last thing I want to say is, look how important your take profit is. A lot of people, we had the previous day low, like bit below, and people might have been thinking, oh, it's going to go previous day low, I'll make even more money. No, this is session liquidity, London low, Asia low. They are very, very strong reversal areas. If you do not take profits or at least partials, look how quick this reversed. I could have lost my money pretty quickly, and yeah, it's unnecessary. It can cause all sorts of mindset problems. So bank your profits, be happy with what you can get, and get on with your life. So guys, this is the end of this video. There is going to be a lot more content coming, some lifestyle and some strategy and mindset stuff from me to do with trading. But if you do want to get involved and start taking trades exactly like this, start digging deeper into my strategy, then I will post some links below today for the video. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment, feel free to message me, and I will be happy to help.